So peanuts are not technically nuts. They're actually legumes.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Would you like my peanuts?
I would
Can I give you
not.
some legumes?
I would not.
Giggity.
Hello and welcome to episode 45 of Carvers and Creators, a weekly demonstration and discussion with pumpkin carvers, sculptors, and multi-talented artists. We please ask that you please consider giving us a like and a follow on the platform you're watching us on. And please let us know in the comments where you're watching from and if you have any questions for the carvers or our special guest. My name is Michael Mondragon. I'll be running the show, moderating comments, and chiming in from time to time. And I have a special surprise that I'm sure my fellow carvers will definitely enjoy. Stay tuned for that.
Maybe.
Let's meet the carvers. First, he is an artist and sculptor from Boston, Massachusetts. He is a 2019 champion of Food Network's Outrageous Pumpkins, Paul Dever.
Oh,
There he is.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Happy Thursday.
God bless.
Next, he's a multimedia sculpture artist from Tucson, Arizona, and a finalist on Halloween Wars 2019 on the Food Network. Matt Harper, welcome. Yay.
Look at the timing on this guy.
Oh,
Where is he? Is he over there? Where'd he go?
Oh.
Lenny, where are you, Lenny?
Lenny. We need our audience to help call Lenny.
yeah, let's go.
back
Come
from
on,
the,
let's
the
go.
dead.
Let's go, Lenny.
Gotta get off that AOL.
Lenny. There he is. We know he exists.
He does exist.
Letting-
Right there.
And 3, 2.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah. Our guest today is a frequent guest on our show. He has been seen on Halloween Wars season 6 and 8 on the Food Network. He is a sculptor, carver, and carpenter from Long Beach, New York. Please welcome the multi-talented Lenny Calvin. Welcome.
How's it going, guys? Sorry about
Lenny,
that.
welcome. Welcome.
I was having a little issues getting on.
Isn't that
You too? I have
Yeah.
Look at me. I'm like a Technicolor Dreamcoat. I
There you go.
I would love to be sponsored by Canon, but at this point, Canon can punt. Just Canon's messing up.
Yes, it is definitely. I cannot wait to get to see what we're all drinking tonight because it has been that kind of day. So thank you for joining us. We're all glad that you're here. Lenny's here. Paul,
Yay.
we can see you just fine. Matt, we can hear you just fine. I have good internet, so let's get to it. Let's actually look back at last week's carvings. Here's
Well
Matt's
done.
carving from last week, a flirty
That's
robot
fun.
inspired by Tom Bowman. So,
Nice.
Matt, this is wonderful.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Yeah.
cool, man.
Thank you, guys. It was fun to make. I went super cartoony, and it was fun because it was a really big, fresh kabocha squash, and so I felt like I had a really deep. You can see on the jaw and even on the hinges and stuff like that. I had a long way to go, and so it was really fun to be able to continue digging and anyway, that's my flirty robot.
It's awesome. I
Nice.
love the way you stepped it down in the bottom too.
Oh yeah, like his neck. Yeah.
Yeah, really cool. You'd like to use the whole entire squash. Well
Yeah,
done,
it's-
sir.
I like the
Thank you.
overbite.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have that little row of teeth in the background, so it gives it a really good depth. I like it.
kind of has like a little. That's the flirty part. It's like, huh?
I love the eyebrow, the rock eyebrow right there. Looking
Yeah.
good. And here's Paul's from last week. And this
Oh, there
is
you go.
so good.
I hate it.
Oh. All right, so let's
Not
move
my
on.
favorite subject, Bowman.
Yeah. We can just blame it right on him.
Yeah, he got me with that one, boy. He did. Well, Frazzle Stash too, you son of a gun.
Yeah.
He's been flirting with that for a while and got what he wanted.
Speaking of flirty, we got to take that off the thing. But Paul, I love the plates that you did. That's just brilliant. Like to put in like the guy's got an injury and they just had to patch it over. That's awesome.
That's where they keep the battery. That's what they keep the battery. You know what sucks too is the angle of it you can't see, but I actually cut out the nuts on the side of the jaw. They're actually like
I
they're
can see
perfect
that.
nuts.
Oh, like bolts. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
That. Okay. Badass.
God, am I glad that one's over.
Paul, what's the glint in the eye? Is that
No, it's just a small piece of squash.
is it? There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so white. I thought it might have been like a dab of like crazy glue or something,
No, you know what I do is I'll keep the skin on the back, and then when I punch in, I'll try and take that first piece with the outer skin because it's kind of that peachy
Lighter.
color.
Yeah, so light. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, that definitely works for these squash because they're light on the outside, dark on the inside. Where it's opposite of that in a pumpkin, right?
Right. Yeah.
So it works on this.
Yeah. Every once in a while, when I keep failing on getting that glint just right, translucent and it shines when the light hits it, I get like, forget it, and I'll take a little toothpick of crazy glue and I'll put a little teeny dot on it, and
yeah. You know what's another good
nobody
trick
picks it up.
The good trick with that. Oh, I'd pick it up, Lenny, in a heartbeat.
Everybody knows.
I'm like, damn, that glint looks nice. There's no
You
way.
can't mail that in. You got it. Yeah, come on.
So
You're a purist. What the hell?
all right. Well, when you use your little tiny friggin' copper rod here, right?
Yeah.
After I pull the piece out, I'll cut the first piece on like a 30-degree angle, and then make sure when I glue it in that angle is faced up because it'll catch more light. You know what I mean? Instead of it being flat sometimes, depending on the angle of everything that's going on. But I find that leaving the skin on that's my big secret. So, well, you're all welcome. I guess you do. What's the point of me carving anymore?
Yeah.
You got all my secrets.
It's over. We got a good one.
I'm such a fraud.
Too much. I gotta turn one of these lights off for a second. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, Paul. I swear to God, these things. If I didn't have my little tubes, I don't know what I'd do because I was for years I was just carving as close to a little tiny circle as I could find, and it was always goofy.
Oh, it's so hard to do. I started going with like rectangles, a little squares before I had the rods, just enough. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times if I'm drawing, I won't draw the circle, the glint in the eye. I will kind of make it oblong. So kind of like, well, whatever shape I got, as long as it's small enough and catches the light.
Right, and again, you're just going for the one or two glamour shots to get it perfect. Anyway, if you can just catch it perfectly, it doesn't matter what the thing looks like. So
exactly, it's just about the pick, man.
Yes.
Yeah. For the longest time in the beginning, I was leaving that piece of material on the eye as I was cutting out the cube. You know what I mean? And forever having that fragile little piece left in the background, hoping that it wouldn't fall out. And then was like, screw it. I'm doing, the thing with like what you guys are doing as well, with the pipe.
Because you can get, you don't have to worry about it. You know what? I feel the same way with teeth too. If I'm trying to clear out behind teeth that have taken so long to carve out, I'll cut that tooth right out and then be able to clear the material, because I know I can just put it back in.
No, that's true. That's true, especially if exposed gums, right? Because then you can just put it in like a socket. Yeah,
if you got the gum line in there, you can just carve the tooth right out and pop it back into place. That way you have a clean alley to clean out all your schmutz.
Oh, you're right.
I believe that's the scientific name too.
That's the geothermal something. Yeah,
that's what the Latins called it.
Yes.
Sure.
So, Lenny, have you met the fourth member of Carvers and Creators?
Lenny has.
Have you met? I think.
Last time when he was here, he went for a George. He was doing.
Yeah, he did a George Tulapulis.
So I don't think he's on the wheel.
Yes, the Hulu. I can never say that right.
Cthulhu.
Yeah.
Cthulhu.
Yes.
It took me 12 years to figure out how to say that.
Yes.
Well, it is the hollow wheel, the center spinner, which Paul is going to spin and determine what we are going to carve tonight. So let me solo in on Paul.
Listen, guys, I can tell you what we ain't carving. It's a flirty robot.
He's so angry.
So you know what we got to do? Because we have so many things on there, instead of putting something else on there, I think for tonight's show, let's take off flirty and robot. If we get to a blank, we just respin it.
How about we just don't take it off so I don't get my hands all dirty and we just respin it anyway?
There we go. Let's make it easy.
Hey.
Let's take it easy. Okay, everybody knows the routine. This is the wheel. These are our subjects, and the second spin will be the emotion. And I will be hysterical if it lands on flirty.
Yeah, you're allowed to punch the wheel if that happens.
Right. Well, I glued a couple quarters on the back to get what I wanted. So
there we go.
Yeah. Guess choice. This friggin' wheel. I'm telling you.
Guess choice.
That means you get to choose.
So of the ones that are on there, Lenny, I mean, they certainly give you some ideas. Primate, Thug, Cyclops. Well, you did Cyclops already. Goblin.
But it's guess choice. So
but you get to really choose
the wheel or whatever you want.
Exactly.
You lucky SOB.
Flirty.
No. Drunk.
Yes.
Drunk.
Oh.
Yes.
Drunk. That's a
drunk
good one.
A drunk
what? Carver. How about we just
Very appropriate for tonight.
Yeah, it'll be a
Let's
drunk
just do a
carver.
drunk carver and make ourselves that way.
Yeah, right. We'll just take a picture at the end.
I was.
So here are your choices before you. I don't want to rush you into anything here. So do not even think about robot.
Yeah, okay? that doesn't exist.
So you got old age, goblin, cyclops. Well, we did cyclops too. Thug, primate, elf, and zombie, and mammal.
And a mammal.
Or you could go off the cuff and pick something else. It is your choice.
If I said zombie, because I was playing around this afternoon, and if I started one as a preemptive strike, would that make me a loser? So I started with this guy.
Son of a gun. That's I'd say that's a little more than a start, Lenny.
Yeah, that's
well, Lenny's like, thanks guys, good night.
Good night, guys.
I figured that you guys are banging stuff out every week. I haven't touched a butternut. I don't think I did a Frankenstein after the Hulu guy, and I haven't touched one since. So it's been a couple of months. I was like, okay, I don't want to look like a total knucklehead, but I do have an untouched one that I guess I could put this one in the bucket and do start on the other, so I'm on the same playing field. So it's what's the emotion?
Drunk.
If that's an emotion.
Overall encompassing.
A drunk emotion.
You can stay with. Don't let us sway you one way or the other, buddy. This is your decision.
Well, zombie can be kind of fun, I think. I mean, because you can. It doesn't have to be any. It could be any kind of Pacific. It doesn't have to be a Pacific face. So it could be any kind of.
Well, it has to be drunk.
Drunk.
It has to be drunk, whatever that means.
It has to be drunk. Wait, does the carving have to be drunk or the carver?
Carver.
So I might take the easy way out. So is that what we're going with? A drunk zombie?
Is that cool with you guys?
That sounds
a drombie?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Do drombies.
All right, I'll be fair and I'll put this guy in the bucket.
No, if you can make him look drunk, that'd be impressive.
If you can make him into a drunk zombie, that's even more impressive.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you have to pivot now, even though you got.
Yeah, right. Oh, and I got a polka too. Oh man.
Yeah.
I like McFrazzle Stash's comment on what the wheel is now. It's the wheel of misfortune.
Definitely.
Oh crap!
The wheel
Truest
of
statement never spoken.
Yes.
Oh,
all right.
Flat Kaboka.
So if you're carving or drawing or painting with us tonight, we're going to give you 5 minutes to grab your tools, pumpkin squash, any other perishable item. And while we do that, we're going to do our ceremonial toast. So we'll go around the room. Lenny, are you having anything to drink tonight, or?
Well, it's for you, it's the can.
Love it.
Oh, peace tea. Oh, I like the golf reference as well.
That is super cool.
Oh, he's got the glove on. All right.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Get it, tea.
Nice. Paul, what do you got?
Well, to add insult to injury, I was out of all my good beer because I drank it.
Damn it!
But I did have a Mast Landing Strong Feelings Imperial Coffee Stout, because that's what I want to have right now. Imperial Stout. Holy moly!
What's the old saying? Any port in a storm. So
I think any Imperial Stout in a storm, I think is the correct way of saying.
There you go.
Oh, and just so we're rolling on this theme, it's 10%.
Oh, well, there you go. So let's get rolling.
Wine.
But it says something about emotions in there, right? I think you're going to have some new emotions coming out as that 10% goes down.
I might just pour it into the squash. Wouldn't that make it drunk?
It certainly would help.
Yeah.
Oh, hello, motor oil.
Matt, what do you got?
Lord, that's dark. So I have a nice English fine ale called Old Speckled Hen.
Oh, yes. I actually know of that.
And it's got one of those little fuzzy or fizzy nitro balls in it. So it looks like a Guinness kind of head. I felt recently that I'm an Old Speckled Hen myself. I knew Lenny was going to be on, so I figured he is. Just kidding. Perfect timing. I just called him a name, and he's not here to listen.
Yeah, he disappeared.
Okay.
I am having a Laurel IPA from Beechwood Brewing.
I love that can.
I'm sure the can is pretty cool. It's
awesome.
Very, very colorful. This another very West Coast IPA here from
West Side.
From Beechwood. So I'm sure named after Laurel Canyon out here in Los Angeles. But now on to my surprise that I promised you tonight. So it's been a while since I've carved. So I definitely want to. I even have Paul's Devers shirt. I'm ready to go.
Thank you, buddy.
Yep, and I got my Villafane Studios tools. I got all my tools over here. But you're saying, what am I going to carve? Well, I'm going to carve the pumpkin that my girlfriend grew for me.
No way.
Nice.
She grew this in the backyard. This is the only pumpkin that grew. And so we're going to try it out and see what's in it, how deep it is, and if I can get anything out of it. It's pretty, it still looks pretty ripe, but, not ripened. But I don't know, the stem is kind of suspect. I don't think it's a lot.
An albino stem. All stems are that size. Don't judge it. All stems are that size.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, don't judge.
Is there a drunk zombie in there? I can't see it.
I believe there is.
Shake it. That's how you know. There it is.
Let me listen to it. No, don't have anything yet. So I'm gonna give it a go and see what's in here. But I will be carving tonight. So I thought.
Oh yeah. All right.
I thought I'd throw that out there. And
best thing I heard all night.
Yeah, and I think if I'm not mistaken, the first time that I carved, Lenny was on. Were you on that time,
Yeah,
Lenny?
you did the lettering.
That's
Yeah,
right.
My first carve.
So it all comes around.
Well, now.
Go.
So I'm in.
Goes around.
Oh, freaking Lenny. Can't believe you picked that.
So my girlfriend says, I hope it doesn't deflate on you, which you never know.
Like a souffle?
And like I remember I had all those pumpkins and I was kind of going for it back the first time. This was actually grown from those pumpkins. We took the seeds and just threw them in the. Yep.
And they just grew, huh?
Circle of life.
How come I've been doing it for like 6 or 7 years, dumping an enormous amount of pumpkins in my yard, and I can't get anything of them?
Well, my favorite thing is that any pumpkin I've ever grown ends up being by far the most expensive pumpkin I've ever bought. Because it's with the amount of water and weeding, all the BS has to go into it. It's just never worth it.
No. Well, hey.
Of course,
it's always worth it. Never give up.
Never give up. That's right. Fight to the end, or whatever they say.
Man,
kill or be killed. Something.
These are getting hard, guys. This is hard.
A drunk zombie.
Yeah, I'm already liking the color of it so far, so it's looking pretty good. You can't tell on here, but you kind of can.
It's like lighter, huh?
Yeah, it's almost like a butternut. So it's kind of interesting.
Well, guess what? I'm done, guys.
That's it.
So Lenny,
that is it for Carvers and Creators tonight. It's been nice having you.
Oh, crazy.
Oh boy, this isn't even a good. Oh man, I'm very whiny tonight.
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm doing a lot of complaining. My camera's messed up. I got a friggin' stout in June, and I got a squash that's laughing at me right now because it's so dry. Good times.
Nice.
But
Well,
good.
I have a surprise for you guys.
Oh,
I haven't. Yes,
This is surprise night.
Yes.
Episode 45, the night of 1,000 surprises.
You guys are the first to see this new edition.
Oh,
and it's a follow-up of the character I did for you guys on that one show. But I created a whole new setup for it. So I'm gonna turn the lights off, and then I will
striking the mood.
We'll do the reveal. Hold on.
Keep your hands to yourself, Calvin.
Wow. All right.
All right. Look at this. What's going on here? Need a drum roll?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
They are.
So here.
All right. Zoom in, baby. Here we go.
Oh. What happened?
Oh no, we lost Lenny.
Lights out.
Lenny's going down.
Dance.
What happened?
We're zooming
I
in.
can hear you guys. How come I don't?
Yeah, we're not.
Lenny, that's amazing. I got to tell you. That's the darkest color I've ever seen.
There we go.
Oh, you can't. It's all white. It's all white. Is it white out? You can't even see it. Oh crap!
What's it sitting in a tambourine?
No, he's got a cloak.
I can't. The light.
Yeah, it's so white. Yeah. There you go. That's better.
There you go. There you go. Little light play with light.
Oh, look at that. Okay.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
How'd you get it to fit so perfect in there?
And it's I gotta get this shit out of the way. Oh, am I allowed to say that on
Yeah. We appreciate
everything but that.
Yeah, everything but shit.
We can drink beer, but no cursing, please.
Yes.
We're of age now. Now we've heard every word.
My work surface isn't big enough for everything here. No, so here's the.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so it's a all new base. But
did you make the base too?
I made the base, and
that's beautiful.
The whole lighting setup. It's the bottom here has an all up light. That's why it wasn't. It lost all the effect. It's bumming me out right now. But I don't know why the camera's making it completely. I see how it.
You got a Canon because they seem to screw everything up.
Why do I keep losing you guys?
There goes our Canon sponsorship.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I didn't. You know what? After that, I wouldn't accept that sponsorship.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. It's.
No, it looks great.
It looks great. We can see it.
Yeah, we can really see it. And you've got a nice. Oh wow, all the way around. Did you? So you made the base.
Yes.
What's around the bottom of the cloche?
What's on the bottom?
This?
Yeah, that line.
Yeah,
or this.
The white.
The base.
Yeah.
The beaded looking thing.
Oh, this is just a metal sheathing for an electrical wire. It just had a cool texture to it, and it was also a way of cleaning up the bottom of it. I mean, the silicone job is super clean regardless, but I just thought it added like a little different texture, a little metal to it. But
that looks killer.
It's completely watertight and no air. And
how'd you get the air out?
That's another question. How'd you get the air out of it? Because it looks pristine in there.
The fabrication of this plexiglass base, I created a threaded hole. I made my own threaded plug for it with the proper rubber washers and all that jazz. Yeah. And then when it's upside down when you put it all together. So as I filled the last half inch of material of water, I used a syringe and I fabricated a flexible tube so that I could puncture the air pocket and then draw, by using a syringe, drawing the air out. At the same time, I was putting water in to fill the void as the air came out. And
Wow.
yeah, it's so I've kind of like ironed out the whole system, and I'll be creating these bases, with this type of container, and see if it flies. See if some people who are into pickling. But it's it's a nice clean look when it's all said and done. And the LED lights, without, I wish it, it didn't show up like that, just blind, completely, you can't see anything. But it's kind of neat with the lights coming out through the base. It's kind of neat. But I figured you guys had never seen it. I had done it once before, and I had an air pocket in it, and the light in my shop heated up the air.
Oh,
and it expanded and shattered the glass.
Oh,
no
I
way.
know. You sent me a picture
So
of that.
I was able to get him out of the container and put him into another container, and he's been sitting ever since the show. Maybe 2 weeks after the show, when I did him, and he's been sitting in a solution ever since. And,
Wow, he looks perfect.
Yeah. So I was really adamant about making sure I was changing the fluid and keeping it clean, and I was happy that he survived. now he's in it. So there we go.
He's getting up there in age too. I mean, you carved it on the show.
Yeah. So I mean that was how many months ago?
A long time ago. I mean, we're coming up on a year soon.
Whoa!
Yeah.
If you can believe it.
It was like at least 6 to 7 months ago.
Jesus,
I think you were on like episode 8.
Something like that. Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
And this is episode 260.
Yeah.
something.
No, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So which one, Lenny, I want to ask you about this one.
I love that.
I wanted.
That was the one after you did. After that, right?
Yeah,
That's
I
the
wanted.
site?
I saved him in another container, and I don't know what happened. I think I had just pushed the limit at the top, like that squashes upside down, so the seed areas at the top of his head.
Yeah.
So I really pushed his eyes in, and I think the walls were too thin at that point. But he lasted for quite a while, and I was going to actually put him in this container than this guy, because I really liked the way he came out. He was a little fun character. And when I cradled him very gently out, he just kind of like rolled in my hand just before he broke the surface of the fluid, and like the whole side of his face just got all mushy. And yeah, and it was over. But
the soldier died in your arms.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah,
That's such a sad story.
This is not a good story. I mean,
but yeah, it was that was a fun one. That was I enjoyed doing that guy. You guys all know, like when you're doing one and it just seems like everything's just going well.
yeah.
It's like you're not in your head when you're doing it. You're just going, and happy things are happening. And he was that one. It happened.
That actually
quickly.
happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently.
Yeah.
So,
Wow. So Lenny, since we last talked to you, obviously
Yes.
we've had a few more shows and stuff. And in talking with you recently, you were saying how you've been keeping up with some of our different guests. Do you have other than yourself? Clearly, you're your favorite, but any other favorite guests from the show that you've seen so far? Because I know you're a loyal fan. So any thoughts there?
all of the special effects guys that you've had on, I really enjoy, because that's something I always wanted to get involved in.
Yeah.
So hearing what they're doing and seeing their projects, and looking behind them in the shops that they're in, and seeing their equipments and the stuff that's stored on the shelf, because they all have things that they've sculpted or, latex, whatever's, some of them are on the shelf. So that's kind of neat. And forgive me for forgetting his name, the guy who does the like the forensic stuff, like the monkeys and
Oh yeah, Gabriel Venus.
Yeah.
Oh, he was off the chart, that one.
Amazing.
So, they've all been such like super nice guys too. You know how we have the pre-show meetup and we get to hang out for a little while after the show, and then on the show, obviously everybody's great, but these guys have just a wealth of knowledge and completely open to sharing it. And like awesome. It's great to meet that many good people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's been a surprise for me, because when you're in your own head and you're just a big huge fan, and you follow all their stuff and like everything you see and you buy their stuff and all this stuff, and then you get to meet them, it's like you expect for them to be different than they are. I don't know if it means nice or mean or whatever, but when they're down to earth and they're happy and open, and man, it's just it just kind of reminds you, people in this crazy artist community are pretty damn cool and happy to share stuff. And anyway, it's fun to get reminded, when you get to talk to Lenny and you just have a really fun open conversation, learn new tricks, find out what tools you're using and all that good stuff. But anyway, that's cool to hear. That's cool.
Yeah, because I think that these guys, like ourselves, we're into certain mediums, and you try to perfect that medium, and then you start meeting these other artists in these different mediums, and I think it's like the wow happens on both sides of the fence, and yeah. I think it certainly lends to really cool conversations, and like this program that you guys are putting together, it puts all that together. So it's a lot of fun to watch.
Oh, thank you, Lenny.
Yeah, thank you so much.
It's fun to have you on, sir.
Not so much you, Paul, but the rest of the rest.
Yeah, Mickey and I. Yeah,
not everybody. You heard my last feeling. That's all I have.
But Lenny, you were talking about how you were. I think it was Casey that you said like he was doing his tool that he was using on his board that inspired you to kind of think differently on some stuff that you were doing.
Oh, the guy from Great God.
Special Effects.
Oh, the Gray House.
Yeah. That whole gas pipe holder that he put together, which is super simple. You can get that anywhere, and it was just a really simple design to work off of such a small base, just to do a small little bust and be able to spin it 360 and raise and lower it, and So I was all down for that. I think I even typed in the question like, what's the base? What's the thing he's sculpting on? And so when he kind of took it apart real quick and showed it, I was like, that's definitely, because anything you need to be able to do 360 with sculptures, and you need to be able to change your elevation to see it from different angles and all that. So, getting stuck on, one just sitting on a table or just a lazy Susan, so like I have a low, couple of different size lazy Susans. So I'll take a sculpture that I'm working on and I'll transplant it on one to another, just to get a different view because I'm sitting at a table. But, I will, I have a start on a stand, a sculpting stand that I can stand next to, and raise and lower. So yeah, that project's kind of getting built.
So Lenny, I know you do a lot of pumpkins at certain times of the year, but you also do a ton of clay.
Yes.
So you kind of, in our minds, a lot of the people we talk to on the show, the artists we get to interview and talk to, are kind of one or the other. A lot of times it's either additive or subtractive, but you seem to kind of have your hand in both. Is there one you prefer? It's a different mindset, in my opinion, to be able to kind of shift your brain from only additive to only subtractive, that kind of thing. But do you prefer one over the other?
I not really. I mean, I love them both, and the carving, like what we're doing tonight, this is just it's so temporary, and there's a certain amount of time you have to make it happen, so that part for me is a really cool thrill, and then trying to create something out of an odd shape, going that way. The clay part, I actually go at it similar to carving because of the rough shapes that I'm putting on with clay. So, so just hitting the sculpture, with balls and squares and triangles and odd shapes, I end up carving away and refining them. So it's sort of similar to what we're doing now.
Okay.
So, I don't want to sound like like I'm
Too
patting
late.
myself
Too
on the
late.
back. Yeah.
Too late.
Yeah. I don't really have, I don't have to go through any kind of mental ag to switch from subtractive art to a positive medium like clay. It feels the same to me.
I know exactly what you're saying. I agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you know what it is? It's like riding a bike and riding a unicycle. If you already know how to ride a unicycle, one seems harder than the other, but if you know how to ride it, going back and forth, it's not much of a switch. To somebody else, you're like, how the hell can you ride one wheel? Yeah. That would be like the subtractive to some people, whereas
yeah,
I don't know if that makes sense.
I believe like all of you sculpt as well, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Not in the last year, though, Lenny.
Yeah, not as much.
It's strictly squash.
We've been squashing it.
We are squash carvers at this point.
Yeah.
But I think that, so some friends of mine, do you know Sue Beatrice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't know.
Been trying to get her on the show for a year.
We love her.
Yeah. Yeah. Sue.
Ain't even moving.
Yeah. Sue and I, we had a conversation, and, she was telling me, you have to draw, you have to sculpt, because of all those mechanical moves that you do in those mediums, and getting your mind into that gear will totally help you with this medium that we're working on now. And I was never much of a pencil and paper guy or pen and ink guy, drawing and stuff. I just saw it in my head and I could put it together. Yeah. But once I started drawing a little bit more and sculpting more, I noticed she was absolutely right. Your mind's working in all these different gears, and you're able to mesh them all together, and I found it to be very helpful.
Oh, sure. Hey, next time you see Sue, tell her I didn't. I'm not forgetting that she said she'd come on.
Yeah. Yeah, she's something, Sue. She's
she's amazing,
unbelievable artist. Yeah,
it really is. Yeah.
She
does these.
Too.
Oh my God, those clocks, the pocket
watches.
Watch
clock, yeah.
Yeah, it's insane that she's able to do what she does with that stuff. But you should check her out at. She does the Bronx Zoo. These huge sculpts there, in pumpkin season. Mm-hmm. But she breaks down and does these like 5 and 15-minute pumpkin carves that are just like mind-blowing. She can bang stuff out like it's just like, oh my God, like, are you kidding me? I like just about got the skin off the pumpkin and you already got the whole thing happening.
Right. So, like speed carve.
Yeah, she's fantastic. One of my favorite artists.
Yeah, I agree. She was definitely a huge inspiration when I first started carving because I couldn't figure out how. I mean, I still can't. Some of the stuff that she's able to pull off, the way they can take chunks of pumpkin, and assemble it like a puzzle piece, and then flawlessly seam it all back together for life-size animals is.
Yeah.
That in and of itself is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, she puts she makes these like pumpkin fillets that are like paper thin, and they soak them and they lay it on like joints and seams, and it kind of like melts into the pumpkin and hides the joint work. Yeah,
Lenny, were you supposed to tell us that? Was that like an NDA thing? Sounds like a really good secret.
I'm gonna start doing that tonight, huh, Paul?
I'm just gonna lay the whole thing over my sculpture.
Yeah. Nope, it all just blends in.
There's your drunk zombie, guys.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was trying to. My girlfriend is. She always says like she can't draw, and I said, drawing's very simple. It's just shapes. So if you look at it kind of differently, obviously someone artistic would kind of know how to make the shapes of stuff, and that's one thing that I'm noticing doing this. Like even in my, like just watching these guys every week. I know you can't see it that well, but I'm able to. I went back to just my own advice, which was, I'm just making shapes.
Yeah.
And so when I'm just clearing out those shapes, so I feel a lot more confident now in doing this. Like I didn't want to ruin this pumpkin, but I'm more excited about making the shapes, and then I also noticed too, like when you guys are doing them like on the show, and they're very rough, but then when you see them like the next week, they're like totally like fleshed out, look amazing. And I think that's the time that, it's a stepping away from it that you have to do to come back and actually make it and look at it again with different eyes when you're first doing it as well. So, I mean, that's someone coming from a novice. I mean, obviously I haven't carved as long as you guys, but I feel like it's just making shapes. And once you're comfortable with that, I think you can do a lot more than you think.
Yeah, it's blocking.
Right.
I think we've heard the word blocking a lot of times, right, Lenny? When you're just starting it out and you're just doing the rough shape, you're just carving those flat surfaces or round surfaces, or just kind of getting where stuff's going to be. And like Mickey said, when you get to go back and do it later, you don't always get to in competitions or that stuff. When you get time to go back and refine it, that's when you can do all the little detail work. And that's the part that takes all the practice. But the blocking part, Mickey, you're right. You're just making shapes.
Yep.
I'm just making a mess. I don't know what the hell I'm doing half the time. It does take a while. I mean, if you don't hate it for the first 80%, I think you're wrong. You should not like it for the first 3/4 of it.
I agree.
That keeps you pushing forward to make it work.
Yeah.
So that's the most comfortable place to be is completely hating it.
Completely uncomfortable. Yes, completely unhappy with yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, right on. So I'm right there.
It's like the
it's
Da Vinci Code. I keep the little whip like the Da Vinci Code, and I give my back lashings when I'm not doing well.
Shame. That's
Shame.
Shame.
Yes,
Yeah, I find for me after I've like blocked in stuff, even though like I see in my head like where I want to go with it, if I don't like put some sort of minor detail somewhere that makes everything like I can really see it all happening. Yeah, I get lost and I end up just like fiddling around and I'm not like really accomplishing anything. So it's like this guy here, like I needed to map in the crooked teeth, to start figuring out. Okay, yeah, I'll get his eyes whacked out, and he's got some stupid grin. I'll get a tongue hanging out, here, and I'll morph this one into the drunk guy. I'll get a sloppy eye, and
cheater.
Yeah. Yes.
So pissed off I didn't.
I was lamenting over that, whether I spring this one out or
No,
start
you get,
fresh.
When you get on a show of this magnitude, I get it. You get jitters, and we all do, right?
You dress to impress.
I pace the floor for hours before this starts. Just, I got to please my fans, my fan base. And, so I'm with you, Lenny, believe me, I carve 2 or 3 and I just throw them away.
Well, and now I understand why you guys drink before the show. You got to calm the nerves down. You got to.
Oh yeah.
Carving oil.
Get all.
It's carving oil. Remember that
grease
term.
the joints, Lenny. You got to grease the joints. The wrists, they're stiff. You got to get the carving juice and the oil and the.
Exactly. You remember the Tin Man after
literally oil.
Oil me. Remember that? That's
yeah.
Every week.
Paul's taking it too serious. Paul, you're taking it too seriously. You're drinking the oil this week.
Yeah, no, I really need it.
Motor oil.
But instead of an axe, I have a Kemper tool. Oil can. Oil can.
Yeah.
So
and then I'm gonna be like,
tomorrow. Leave me alone. No loud noises.
Taking the day off.
So out of the guests that you've had, since you put me on the spot to find out what I thought, what are the ones that stick out in your head?
Yeah.
Which one? Say that again.
And which artist, which show, worked? You had to be geeking on some of these guys that you had on the show. So, did you have some favorites?
Well, everybody that we've had on the show, are people that I've reached out to because I just love them as artists. You know what I mean? Like yourself included. Everybody we've had on the show, it's every time somebody says yes, I'm like, oh my God. Like I'm so pumped because this is somebody that I actually follow and look at their artwork and I'm super impressed by it. And so every time somebody says yes, I'm just I'm beside myself that number one, they responded. Like they got back to me, which is always good. And then when they say yes, it's like, oh shit. I'm actually gonna get to hang out with this person and do some carving and talk shop. And so I geek out on everyone. I mean, let me think. Who would be one that I think I geek out kind of the same way on everybody. It's super impressive every time we have somebody on. Just the fact that they're willing to sit down with, the 3 of us and take time out of their day and knowing that this is what they do for a living.
Yeah.
Lenny, you do a lot of different stuff too. Like we have tons of interests and we have day jobs and this is our passion. And then you meet these people that do it for a living. That's what gets me a little geeked out. Like all right, can I get the secret to your success? How do we, but other than talent, what's the other ways I can do this for a living?
Yeah.
Right. What's the missing page that we don't have in the book? Yeah.
Yes. And can you do me a favor and make it a short story? Because I hate to read.
Yeah.
Let's show me the pictures.
Show me pictures.
Yeah, I also think that the people that we've had on also, we've been able to have, such a great cross-section of people that something about them, like for instance, we're not tattoo artists, but we were really impressed about how they approach projects, how they, people that do painting is another thing that that's where I started, but I abandoned. And it's something I want to kind of go back into. And so when I see the people that are using Procreate and other 3D programs, like Maya or just any 3D program. So it's there's all these new type of technologies that are being implemented into this as well. And it's funny, I think we were even talking about it last week where, even though they use these computer programs, they like going back to doing it manually. And that's where we all kind of started. So it's that's also a cool thing too. Some people would say oh, you're doing it manual, you're not doing it the most modern way, but you're actually doing it. You could actually float back and forth, and maybe do a little bit in 3D and then, bring it back to manual. That's one thing that I always want to implement in my artwork. So everybody that we've had on, we've kind of, seen their studio, seen their workflow. And I think that's the biggest thing. We get to see them work and, talk to them about their own work. which is, you don't get to do very often with artists.
Yeah.
Yeah. Christina made a good point too about when we had Tom Fluharty on. He was just insane with hitting you with the best like words of wisdom, and like if you ever think you've arrived, that kind of thing, like you never arrive. Like you should always be trying to get better.
Yep.
And everybody's had some great stuff to say. Like, Mark Evan had some great words of wisdom of how to approach a lot of stuff. And yeah, I think everybody's had something to offer. I don't think I've ever laughed as hard on the show as when we've had like, let me think. Yeah. Let me put it in perspective there.
Take a sip of beer, please.
Yeah, let me think on that. I'm trying to think of the hardest time I laughed on the show. There was a couple.
But also, we get to talk, and then we also get to, talk about obscure '80s bands or wrestling. And,
yes, that's what I mean. As soon as I went to say the hardest I've laughed, I'm like, well, there was that time. But
then there's that time. Yeah. Well, the thing for me,
when Alexandra came on and we did the face paint, that was.
I could not stop laughing that whole time. Yeah.
Oh, like the last time we had Danny Miller on, he had his brother coming in and they were drinking whiskey. That was hilarious as well.
That was.
There has been some funny moments. Man. So funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I was super thrilled that I think about it like when I was on Halloween Wars, and it was filmed in 2018, so that was not that long ago.
No, it was like 10 years ago now.
Feels like it. But in that time, I knew no one. I really didn't know. I mean, I was following people, but now Paul and I are pals. I'm coming out to Boston in July.
Yeah, he is.
And just everybody like Lenny and Danny, and I mean, I won't even start mentioning names because I'll forget so many. But it's just been such a cool experience. But I'll stop talking about that because we think we beat that horse to death. But Lenny, question.
Yes.
You got some upcoming stuff. I know you probably can't talk about because I know that there's, like this year. I just got a question. When it comes to Halloween 2021, since 2020 was a bust, have you started getting stuff kind of lined up already? Here it is June. Do you have things? Are people coming out of the woodwork? Are you hearing about festivals and stuff like that already, or is it? Because I'm starting to. It's the earliest I've ever heard of some of these things.
Yeah. It's things are. I think people are going to try to go into it with a bang to get a market to come back, and try to get some sort of missed revenue and public eye on whatever the facility or event it might be. So
I think there's also a thirst.
I think it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, a big thirst for it from people who just missed it. Right? I think there's any events where there's be people outside and doing normal things is just going to be huge this year. But what do I know?
Yeah, no, I it's like yourself, it's starting early, because I think a lot of guys, are going to get snatched up, early in the season, before the season starts.
I'm wondering if any of our loyal followers are starting to feel that, because I know a lot of those guys are carvers and sculptors too. I wonder if that's also happening to everyone else, because there's shows all the time that are trying to get made, and let alone the festivals and the botanic gardens and all that good stuff too. So anyway,
I'm hoping that it's going to be a good growing season.
Oh yeah,
this season.
Last season was terrible.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a good point, Lenny. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, we need pumpkins.
Well, if Memorial Day weekend around here was any way to measure it, we're gonna get a ton of rain. I think we got like 3 inches of rain over Memorial Day weekend.
Oh, really?
Awful.
Yeah, that's the way it was here. It was just rain for a couple of days. Yeah, you're not that far from me. You're 4 hours, I think.
Stone's throw. After going to Arizona, everything is a 4-hour ride. That's what I've realized.
There you go.
A 4-hour.
We're just going to go to Mickey's house and If it's a bad season, we're going to Mickey's house and we're going to raid his girlfriend's garden.
There you go.
Exactly.
There you go. Perfect. Yeah, everything is good.
Anyway.
Yeah, unfortunately, my girlfriend doesn't feel the same. Her garden isn't growing as well as she expected. But by the way, I'm sure Lenny, Paul, and Matt will be booked. But there's an up and coming amateur artist that's available. So
Mr. Mondragon, Mondragon Sculpting.
Well, he's in LA, so I mean that's where people want you anyway. I mean,
there you go. So I better get good pretty quick. I gotta fill your slots.
Wait a minute. That's
you
disgusting.
got the right name. You got the right last name to have a really cool pumpkin carver name.
Yeah,
the Long Dragon.
And if you roll your R's, it sounds Mondragon.
That's right.
Oh,
so yeah.
Ooh.
No, and Mickey,
The most interesting man in carving.
Oh, no. Texas
we're creating a monster, I think.
No. I'll stay humble. I'm going to stay behind the scenes. I know my place.
McFrazzle wants to hear about Arizona.
Oh.
I'd love to say it's hot because that's usually what I would say. It's hot. It's damn hot. But it wasn't even hot when I went. It was actually bearable, which is kind of like the way they set you up. They trap you. They say, wouldn't you want to live here? I said, yeah, if this was as hot as it gets. Yeah, any day of the week. But Matt, I remember last week he was saying, yeah, it's like 109 outside. It's like 11 o'clock at night.
Yep.
I enjoyed it thoroughly. It was a great place. Great people. That's what I'll say. Great people there in Arizona. But I do love good old New England. Maddie's on his way out in July.
That's right.
Yeah, we've already got a couple events. We've got a couple of social events already scheduled, so we're working that out great. Hey, Wade. So things are looking up.
By the way, and by the way, if anybody happens to be in the Boston area at the end of July, I think it's Thursday through Sunday, the final week of it. There's a thing called Harpoon Fest. I'm grateful my cousin works for Harpoon Brewery, and there's a massive. I imagine they'll have beer there.
Yeah, the thing about Harpoon Fest, if you're from around here, you don't even have to tell anybody. Harpoon Fest is Harpoon Fest.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody knows about Harpoon Fest.
Okay.
So Lenny, you got a nice comment from Nikki here.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what is this? Yes, that's my granddaughter's mom, my wife's daughter.
Nice.
Yeah, they're in the Carolinas.
Carolinas.
Nice.
Huh?
Thanks, guys. Yeah. I don't know if if you're still watching. That's what Papa's making.
Yeah, you didn't start it though right then, so don't let Pop tell you that.
I know. These guys are too slow. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Son of a gun, we are too slow. Damn it. Hey man, it's quality, not quantity. That's what we're going for. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, Matt. I don't know what you actually do for a living.
He's a male stripper.
No idea either.
No idea.
Yeah.
Are you in illustration?
No. I work for a big a medical company. So I and they make things like MRIs and CTs and stuff for big hospitals. So I manage a bunch of that stuff. It's actually rewarding in a lot of ways. It's not creative, but it's rewarding because it's helping people, and so I think that certainly keeps me motivated. But this stuff is food for the brain. Like for me, it's like I get to go carve and create and hang out with Paul and drink beer. So that's my other job.
It is a job. Somebody's got to do it though, man. You do a hell of a job. You get
my liver's not going to ruin itself.
Hey, just think if you ever run into a problem, you can just always have it scanned at work.
Exactly. I'll just say hi. I need
so you mentioned Procreate before. Have any of you other guys used Procreate?
Yeah, I have it. I doodle with it like when I go on flights and stuff, just goofing around. I'm no expert at it by any means.
I have not. My kids do.
It's a great tool. I mean, it's amazing what you can do.
Yeah.
With the layering.
Yeah, I use it. Yeah, I've spent some time with that. I've stayed away from digital art. I just thought it was like, anybody who actually can work their way around a computer, I thought could just, bang something out. But I found that Procreate was pretty cool. The fact that, the same techniques and size pencils or brushes that you would normally use, you have to do it the same way. And I like that program a lot. So I've had some fun with it.
Yeah, it's
some
definitely
of the stuff you've done is amazing.
Yeah. It definitely has like one of those things like, I always joke, being a graphic designer for as long as I have been, that there's a lot of people that consider themselves graphic designers because they have Photoshop and a laptop. And but Procreate is one of those programs that you definitely have to have some ability, and if you do, you can really make some really interesting things in it. But you kind of, the more you know about brushes and how brushes work, how wet media works against dry media, so it's like there's some really amazing things you can do with it, pastels and stuff like that. So so it's one of those great programs that it's come a long way in the time that it's been out.
Yeah, I think I did a lit match on Procreate, and then I think my hardest one, I did a dragon eye.
Yeah, that one was great.
And
That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. But I love the program. I think I find myself doodling on it a lot more. I stayed away from the sketching part of it. And then just recently I started using the sketching, and I'm like falling in love with the whole feel of the sketch part. Mm-hmm. So, have you made any brushes yet, Mickey?
I haven't made my own, but I actually have access to, I think it's called True Grit Supply, and they have a lot of good brushes. There's also a guy who makes a lot of brushes. I think he makes them more for Adobe stuff, but he might have some Procreate ones in there. But I haven't made any brushes. That's the part of it that I'd rather have something that's already there that I can work with. I can just get going. But have you made brushes? It seems like you have.
Yeah, I've made it. I've made some textures.
Okay.
And I'm trying to figure out how to make the cartoon guys, like the Marvel comic characters, the way they do their hatch work for the shading.
Oh yeah.
I watched this video, and this guy was talking about how he created a brush, but it was just, there were so many steps involved.
Yeah.
I was trying to follow, I've watched it like a million times, and I'm like, what am I not getting? Because I can't seem to get it right. But
hey, Jimmy,
because it single strokes, he's getting that line weight, and like a dozen single lines.
Right.
And
right.
they the way they do their shading, it all blends together at the bottom, and it tapers off to this whisper type of a line. Yes. And he's made his brushes to where he's just doing single strokes, and he's getting, crazy amount of lines out of it. And
yeah, because it's like an existing pattern of lines, right? And it's like a big square, but then when you put your pen down, it actually just goes where your pen goes. So it looks like etchings, and you're just making like one line. Yeah. They do that with halftones too. So you have that halftone pattern as well that you can shade in things basically with that same pattern.
Yeah.
You know what it reminds me of is when it's almost like being over prepared for something. like have something ready to go when everybody else is starting from the beginning. You just switch to that brush and it's almost done.
Yeah.
Lenny?
Yeah.
Sort of like this evening, Lenny.
Life imitates art, literally.
Created a Carvers and Creators.
Okay, there
Paul,
it is.
Paul, say it
Yeah.
again.
See,
I didn't catch that part,
Carvers
Paul.
and Creators. Carvers and Creators used to be like way up here on my social calendar now.
Oh, it just fell.
It's just like it's cascading. I don't know why. Nice.
Well, Lenny, when we roll the tape back, you're obviously going to have an asterisk next to your name because you cheated. I'm just jealous because you actually have such a good head start.
But what's funny, Lenny, is when we started the
that's
show, Lenny, when we started the show, we would have, I don't know, Paul, what do you think? 3/4 of the way done, we'd have some.
Yeah, we'd be putting finishing
Before we
touches.
did the wheel, that was kind of our MO. So. You're allowed.
Well,
to
listen.
know us, it's cool, I guess.
Yeah, but talk about luck on Lenny. He's got the Golden Horseshoe. It landed on guest choice.
You know, how crazy is that?
The wheel knows.
Well, see,
I
I
still
was
have-
prepared. You know, I had
You
a
were
fresh
prepared.
one,
Yeah.
you know, but
Yeah. I love how you used
you know, did you have Alien on that wheel?
We did before.
We did before. We took it off because we got it. I think we got it twice already. Yeah, we got it. We got it
because I
hysterical.
I didn't see it because if it was, I would have done a new one because I've got a really cool Alien thing I want to make.
Oh.
So I would have done that one. So it's Paul's fault. He took Alien off.
Oh, it's always Lenny. It's
There it
always
is.
my fault. See, you get it. You understand. Always my fault. Oh bear.
Oh, bear.
Oh bear.
Way to go, Eeyore.
Oh bear.
So when are you guys going to then switch over from carving this stuff and getting a guest on and attempting their medium?
Ooh.
We did that. We tried that already with Alexandra.
Yeah.
Well, the makeup doesn't work. That doesn't
That
count.
doesn't count. Oh, come on. She would disagree with you.
That was
That doesn't
fun.
count.
I mean,
no,
that-
what she does
that was
is
fun.
pretty insane. But
Yeah.
you know,
All right.
you
Yeah, I
guys
can't-
do
I
that
can't do what
normally.
she does.
You know what I mean? You know,
Well, when you
behind closed
when you
doors,
have-
I know you guys are doing that stuff. So
when you have
Good
like
point.
when you have like a
Beauty makeup.
yeah, when you have some of those artists we've had on, it's almost the Shiflett brothers. You're sitting in the presence of masters. It was almost hard to just even do a normal carving. Am I echoing?
Yeah.
a little bit.
Christina wants to know about your sculpture holding the teddy bear. It's her favorite.
Oh, yeah, I got him over here.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, hold on.
I
a
got
second.
500. Do I hear 600? 600. Do I hear 700? 700?
Okay,
I love that
Hold
one
on a
too,
second here.
Lenny.
What's that?
I love that song. I'm a big fan. That's a great one.
Hold on.
You know, back to Lenny's point real quick. Matt, when you come out here, if you want to let me tattoo you, I would totally be open to giving the first time I ever attempted a tattoo gun. I would totally give you a tattoo.
Cool, man. Just like on the face somewhere.
Yeah, like the neck. I figure the neck is a good professional spot to get one.
Yeah, throat.
For my first one, you know.
Yes, so
I
here's
totally want
the
to draw a penis.
I won't look.
yeah. So this is
Wow,
the teddy bear guy. So I'm working on his neck area. This is the head
Wow.
of the character, and
God,
playing around with some wraps. I changed this foot to an actual foot, it was kind of like this dragon, like a dragon kind of.
Tell us about the character. What's he doing? Because I know you talked about having like a whole housing unit on his back and stuff like that. Tell us about what his.
Yeah, I had this idea of a mobile, steampunky kind of crazy Hobbit / steampunk house that people were living in, and it was mobile. Okay. And so the idea ran through trying to figure out what the mode of transportation would be. So in my craziness, it went from like anybody, tank tracks, and I'm like, yeah, anybody would do that. And wheels, that's like a go-to. It was too boring. And then I had this idea, why not it be on the back of a giant? And the giant's a slave to this people living. And, he's the mode of transpose. So that's why he's in this crawling position. And he'll have like a weird structure on his back that'll have a platform, and there'll be a whole house sitting up here. And he's lumbering along, and he stops everything to pick up this teddy bear, and he's staring at it, with this face. He's looking at it like this, like what is that? Well, meanwhile, he's stopped everything from moving. To pick up this little thing. So
that's brilliant.
Yeah, so that's the whole. Yeah, so he'll end up on a scene that'll be kind of like marshy, and I'll put rocks and things and whatnot. So he'll look like he's crawling through some junk. And I started sketching, what I wanted to do for his the harness around his neck and his waist, and he'll have little things hanging off his belt, like souvenir stuff. So I'll do these like little mini skulls, and I want to do, I got to throw some humor stuff in there. I'm going to throw like a roasted chicken hanging off, and some funny things. So yeah, he's. It's been a lot of fun playing with, and so I made a very loose armature inside. So I haven't baked any part of this body yet, so I can still move pieces or cut away some areas to. Yes, this is a 50-50 mix of hard and soft sculpting. Okay. Me personally, I like. I like the firmness of the hard, but I want the speed of the soft. So by mixing it together, I kind of get the two. So I do have some sculptures here that are all soft sculpting, because I was putting a lot of detail and things in it. So you're able to do that a little bit quicker than the hard.
Right.
But, the hard, you're able to, manhandle it better. The soft, I'm forever putting fingerprints and drag marks,
right?
Whatnot from my hands. But
it's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, this was a fun character.
The problem with doing soft out here is it turns to wax, just melts. You can't even have it.
That's it. Have you guys worked with Super Sculpting?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
That's my clay of choice. Really, it's
Monster Clay is fun too. I was playing with that recently.
Yeah, Monster Clay is. I'm a huge fan of Monster Clay, but just for the fact that I can sculpt something today and sit on it for a year.
Yeah.
And then go back to it. And, so it's, I like that a lot.
I like all. I agree with you. As long as it's a medium, like you were saying, you mix the two. It's almost like if it cools down enough, if you've got like the medium texture and it's not too warm, it's the perfect consistency. can get all that detail. It's almost like working subtractive. You can peel off enough. You know, you could subtract enough that it solves the riddle, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
A lot of times that's what I'll have to do is subtract a bunch of it and then maybe put a little back on.
And it's so fun getting people's the different guests' opinion on that, because Gabriel he only does hard monster clay. Other people just do the medium, so it's interesting to get everyone's different take on it. Try them all.
That's it.
Yeah.
Monsterclay.com.
Yeah, I used to use Chavant all the time.
Yep, I like Chavant.
When the better polymer clay started coming out, I started switching over to that. And the Super Scope, the cool thing about that is the fact that you can, bake it in your oven and get it hard, and then take it out and add to it, and like the head, I bake the head, so I can move it around and hold on to it and work the neck and the shoulders areas, and constantly take the head on and off without damaging the work that I've done to it. So, and the monster clay, just because when it sits and you're not playing with it, it gets stiff, and you can, it's great for molding. That was the big problem with a lot of clays was, you do the mold work and you spend more time taking the clay out of the mold than it did to make the sculpture.
Yeah.
Now with these polymers, you can, like monster clay, you can cast it and get pretty much the entire piece back out, intact, which is, a total positive.
But yeah, you don't want to lose the original. That's what I always find so sad about when you go to cast anything, is there's the potential of losing all your work if you don't do it right. That always makes me a little wary about casting.
Yeah. Paul, did you cast your frog?
No. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I do have my silicone, and I do still have my frog. That's coming up the next couple days, because I got to tell you, he's definitely getting close to retirement in that bin.
We did have a question about.
You have him in a solution.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He's been there for quite some time.
What's the question here?
Just how you get that incredible flesh texture.
Oh.
On
the
clay?
On you.
Do you use a moisturizer? I think.
Yeah.
Humidity helps.
Matt and I have the same problem, so we have a lot of products. So we're talking. He's asking about the clay.
Yeah,
I believe so.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's just. I use. Where are they? Hold on, let me show them. I use these silicone tools. They're kind of like rubbery, and they come in all different shapes.
Okay.
So, by rolling it on the clay this way, you get a very smooth texture out of it. And then with the different shapes, you can create, like when I use like this chiseled one, I use that for teeth on the clay, because like at the bottom of your tooth, there's that flat little angled in part, the wear mark. So like I use that. And then, sometimes I'll use, there's, you can use thinners and alcohol, and, different clays react differently with certain chemicals. And then I'll do that. Like with the Super Sculpting, they have a thinner so that like you can rejuvenate the clay. And it's I'll put that on a brush, and I'll brush out an area, and start smoothing it out, that way. But that's a lot of times I leave the brush strokes in, and it kind of almost looks like skin texture, the way you have all the different crisscrosses in your skin.
Oh yeah.
So it's just a little time consuming, but that's, I think everybody who does, any kind of clay work. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's part of the process, but give it a go. There's those tools are very, easy to get. You can get them at Michael's, obviously, all the online stuff. You can buy those out, but that's what I use. That helps.
Lenny, I've seen people do some of the finishing skin stuff. They'll take a cellophane over it and do some, hatch, some wrinkle stuff, or even like stippling for pores and stuff like that. Do you do the same thing with a layer of saran wrap or plastic wrap?
Yeah. So the saran wrap thing is great because when your tool pushes into the saran wrap or plastic onto the clay, so you're making, say, like a wrinkle by the eye. The plastic smooths out the clay on either side of the line that you're creating. Okay. Yes. So it's that's I think everybody does that across the board. All
the cool kids.
What they call because like when you're doing skin, the pattern of your skin, they call it the power of the X. If you really look at it, it's an X pattern. Sometimes it's a diamond shape or a full square or whatever, but that's the design. So it's so by just doing that back and forth, or I have tools that have multiple wires out of the handle, so that every stroke is like 3 or 4 lines.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of like a rake, but it's the couple of ones I have, the wire goes from like 2 or 3 inches long to like a 1/2 inch long, and so you can make all those squiggly lines very easily, and so it's that's the stuff that takes forever. You sit there and you play in an area, especially like doing dimpling, doing the stippling work for those little puck marks. So just recently though, I made I took Super Sculpting and I made all these weird indentations like kidney shape and squares and diamonds and stuff to use it like a stippling, so that I could make scales. So instead of applying individual balls of clay and then shaving them down to make a pattern, I can warm the clay up and then take this tool and start stamping a design, and then adding on top of that stamp to make it higher or lower or whatever.
Oh, that's cool.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
So I have my
saves a lot of time.
I have my dragon sculpture on the shelf that needs to be filled with scales, and I was dreading the idea of doing it the way I've done it before, which was cellophane, putting lumps of clay on, cellophane over it, and then carving it, and hours and hours of playing with it. And then I saw a guy make a stamp out of copper, and I was like, well, yeah, that's great, but who's got the time to make them out of copper tubing? So I was like, I'll make it out of clay and just harden it, and I had the same effect. So that's what I ended up doing.
I'll tell you one funny thing. So when I got a chance to do some big sculptures, like big cement ones, like giant dinosaurs. There's a park in Connecticut that has a ton of dinosaurs, and the guy who sent them there built them in Arizona, and it's called Dinosaur Park or Dino Park or something like that. It's a big, multi-acre thing. You walk through and you get to see life-size cement dinosaurs painted in their quote-unquote habitat. But so, long story short, he had these massive I think it was silicone plates. Picture like something the size of like one of those floor mat you would have at a restaurant, like a big heavy duty, thing like that. But he done giant scales, and then he cast it in this cellophane in what did I just say? What word did I say?
Silicone.
That's it. And then we would put those things, we'd lay it on the dinosaur's body as the cement was starting to go from wet to dry, and then pick it up and put it down, pick it up, put it down, and then we go and refine it. So it would take care of big, acreage of scales very, very quickly. Kind of a bigger version of what you were describing. It sounds like it. But it's really, a really fun process.
You made a gigantic stamp.
Exactly, a big stamp. Exactly, all out of silicone.
Yeah, it's to watch some of these guys that still doing it, each individual ones by hand, separate, and do it so well. It's crazy to me, but
yeah, that's a lot of time.
Yeah.
So this is easily
somebody cutting wood over there.
Yeah,
me.
I'm sawing down a house.
Sawing a drunk zombie.
Yeah.
A drunk making a zombie.
This is that AMR stuff. I'm probably saying that wrong. What is it? AFR?
AAA.
ATM? ATM? I forget.
AARP.
Oh, Maddie, we're gonna have so much fun when you come.
You bastard.
So this is the fastest 90 minutes on the internet. We are already at 90 minutes. We can go longer if you like. Let us know in the chat if you want us to go longer, and we will definitely go as long as everybody wants to go.
We got to the quote unquote end, but I want to see your shit, Mickey. Come on.
I was just gonna say, funny how on this episode he didn't say. At this point in the show, we usually like to go around and see what everybody's got.
We didn't get to do that. We want to see Mickey's.
Okay.
All
right. I'll take the challenge.
There we go.
The Pepsi challenge.
One thing that I noticed about this pumpkin, actually, I have not had to use the water bottle I want. It is really super.
Wet. It's thick.
Cavity there.
Yeah, it is. It's super wet, so I'm very happy about that, and it's actually made it very easy to kind of start.
Nice, very skull-like.
So one thing that I did want feedback on is this is where, like, of course I have the orbital sockets and the nose and everything. As you see, I have not tackled the mouth because it's underneath of it all.
Yeah.
And the eyes are something that I'm a little afraid of. So I usually wind up doing kind of like Simpsons type eyes, just because they're easy. Do you think that I should go for a little higher level of difficulty with the eyes, or
yes.
What do you think?
Of course.
Okay. Yeah, Lenny, I'll throw it to our guest. Lenny, what's your first thought on like, let's just say the orbital cavities or the eyes, or what would you have him do?
Well, I think what people get lost on when you do that whole brow going all the way under the eye to like the cheek, right? If you the eye's a ball, right? So your socket now is flat, right? Basically, that's the way it looks like here.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much material you have. If you press in where the tear duct is it soft? Does it bounce?
Let's see. No, it's pretty solid.
Oh,
I probably don't have much though.
Okay. No, probably not.
Round it.
Yeah. So if it's when you're doing rough shapes, like in this type of thing, you're going over your rough shape like 1,000 times to keep pushing it inward and inward and inward. So if you use that small triangle tool and you go in where the eye duct is and you start shaping your eye from there, you can, as you dig in, and keep pressing with your finger, you can figure out how much material you'll have to play with.
Yep.
So you want to start creating the actual eye, which will give you all your eyelid, upper and lower.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, everybody starts. I did the same thing when I first started. I would like form the brow, you know, and because I'm not explaining this right. Your eye, when you make the round part of the eye itself, that's giving you everything. That's giving you your lower eyelid, your upper eyelid, you know, the fleshy meat on the side of your eye. All you have to do is just rough that shape in and have it fade up into the brow part as you're doing it. And then as you start defining that, you'll create that heavy brow that you put in already. You know, you'll be taking it out of that sphere.
Yeah.
Right.
That makes sense.
You know, so like on this, for argument's sake, like, you know, the sphere was all of this.
Yes.
And then as I started defining it, you get the lower eyelid, the upper eyelid, that little fleshy part, the brow starts to pop out, you know, and I mean, this is obviously a cartoony kind of thing. But again, like on this one, the sphere was this whole thing.
Yes. Okay.
And then as I started pushing it in, I get my lower eyelid, which is just a basic shape now. And I started defining the actual eye because he's going to be drunk. So I'm going to have his, you know, pupil looking up, you know, and he's got the lazy, you know, I love you, man, kind of eye on the opposite side. You know
that
what
makes
I mean?
sense.
And then, you know, I'll probably bust up his teeth, maybe lose a tooth or something, and then have his tongue hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I made it like this.
whole,
so I made the brow like this, and then I carved out the eye part of it. So that creates too much. What I needed to do is maybe cut it so it was more extreme. Like I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because when you did you create, like, when you're mapping out a face, it's like when you're drawing a face to get your proportions right. You know, you have your center line, your brow line, nose. Okay. Same thing here. So when you create this line for his brow, you know, depending on every artist is different. Some do the brow line, some do the center of the eye. You know, it's whatever. Like I do the brow line because of the way your nose comes into your brow. So if you just do that line so that you know where your eyes are going to be, and then if you bank the cut this way here, you know, because your brow comes into the bridge of your nose, you know. So if you now drag that line across, you've already started pushing the top part of the bridge of your nose back into the pumpkin. And then you can keep working that line. And then when it comes to the eyes, when you map out a basic shape of where the eyes are going to go, when you start pushing that, you push that back, then the brow line will go back. So you end up going over it, you know, a million times until, you know, you get as far in as, you know, the further in you go, the more 3D it becomes.
Yeah. You know what I'm thinking that I'm doing? If you look at the skull that's on Paul's desk, that's basically what I'm doing. I'm making a skull and not a actual face with eyes. So I'm digging out that eye area. And
maybe your zombie doesn't have eyes, you know?
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I may just, you know, I may go through it so it'll just has like hollow eyes.
Or
but yeah,
maybe you cut two big holes in the back and make them into eyes and put them in there later. I mean, there's a million things you can do.
Oh, that's a great idea too.
When you carve it, you almost have to think that the eyeball's in there. So you want this, like you want this. The shadow. But you wanna pay attention to the fact that there's a sphere in there. So you're actually just creating the discerning line between the two. You got to create, like Lenny was saying, you have to kind of bevel. I don't know if that was a word he used, but
because the shadow line, like the picture I'm seeing, the way Paul has his guy positioned, Turn them the way you just the other way. Yeah, no, not so much. A little more the other way. Yeah.
You want
See the shadow
the
line where the bridge of the nose?
Yes.
The bridge of the nose goes to his brow line. See how dark that is? Because he's banked it. You know what I mean? He's cut on an angle inward. So if you can imagine,
I don't have that.
See how it's banked in, right?
Yes.
So just by banking that line where the bridge of the nose and the brow line is, makes the nose looks like it's just jumping out.
Yep.
You know, that's how he's creating the illusion of depth with it. So when you did your first line across your pumpkin, this is my brow, this is my eye line. Mm-hmm. You know, you go from that line up, but on an angle. So it's you're making like an angle cut. It's weird on the camera, you know. So you're coming in like this. Yes. So it goes into the bridge of the nose and then out on the top of the nose on the bridge.
That makes sense. Total
so now you've created this line here.
Yep.
Right, and then from there, you're now making your spheres. So you've created that shadow line for the bridge. You've got these spheres, and now you're working the spheres inward, which then pushes the nose back out. Then you push the brow back in. You know, so you're constantly pushing in, and you know, the angles, you know, are important because we're playing with shadows here.
Right.
Makes total sense.
I think it's how the light's hitting everything.
We're playing with Satan.
Yeah, Ouija board city. So it's 3 triangles is how I always tried. So if you took a line right across the brow, right, on a flat surface, from that point you're going to create 3 triangles, right? So your first triangle will be the nose, right? So from the center of this line where the top of the brow is, basically where your eyebrows are. So you draw a triangle here, and then there's 2 other triangles that you would connect.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Probably not, because I did it like a moron and did it with my opposite hand. So you got a triangle here, 1 triangle, the nose. So tip, open at the bottom, and then a couple of angled triangles here that meet up with this line. So it's 3 triangles, 1, 2, 3. The deepest point of all 3 of those triangles is in the center.
Yep.
So like Lenny was saying, you dig from the corners of the eyes, and then you chip out at the nose, then you feather it out, and then you go back in and do it again. Then go back in and do it again.
And there's another triangle that goes from the brow around the mouth. You know, so it's a bigger triangle.
Below the nose, but it's like a bigger triangle, right?
Right.
And the triangle. So again, it's shapes.
Yep, all shapes.
Yeah. So let me know.
What you said at the beginning, Mickey. It's
because you're making. Because you're making a muzzle, you know, for the lower part of the mouth.
That's right.
So you're taking this line here, and goes to basically where the outside of your mouth would be, and then down to that muscle group that's underneath your lower lip. You know, so you're making this. You know, it's like flat here and angled this way, and then back like that, and then I form that and I leave it alone until I figure out like the expression I want the mouth to be in, because just by creating that muzzle, I can change the length of this line to make the smile like really high, you know, or make one straighter and one up because he's doing this, you know, but having all that material there, you know, untouched, you can play with it. But, you know, it's all the basic shapes. That's like when, like all of us, when we're out doing these live carves and you're working on a face, you know, some people are totally into watching the whole process, and others will sit there for like a half hour, an hour and go like, "Ooh, what's going on?" Because we're doing all these rough shapes and we're just going over them and over. It looks like we're doing the same thing, you know, 1,000 times over, which is what we are, but they don't understand the whole process of you know, how you're pushing everything in and refining it, and you know, that kind of stuff. But
yeah, it makes total sense. Wow, a master class in no, it makes a ton of sense. And it's funny because when you just pick up this and you're gonna do it, you don't think there's so many things that go in your mind, and just keeping it simple, triangles seems like the last thing you would do. But it's absolutely, you're right, and I feel like I'm getting there. But and it's I'm so lucky to have this every week. But it's definitely this. I said it's been a masterclass, so thank you so much for that.
Praise
You're
Allah.
welcome.
Yeah. So let's go around and actually see what everybody's been making. And so Matt, I'm going to go with you first because you're on the top.
Son of a mother of... Hang on. He's all dirty. Come on. Just slap. Sorry, I did drink a lot. Okay, no, I didn't. All right. So if I can get... Come on, people. No, not going to participate. All right, so let me try this. Nope, that doesn't work either. All right.
Do it. You got to send them in and hold it there for a second. It'll focus when you hold it in. Move the squash in. Not your hand, the squash.
The squash.
Get them closer. Now, wait a minute. Now, slowly move them out.
There you go.
Okay, thank you.
Now, jump on one foot and spin around 3 times.
So it's really not reading really well yet, but maybe this will help me. Let me get some lighting on it. There we go. That's better. So he's drooling. Oh, wow. So he's got some drool going. He's got kind of some big brows that I think I'm going to make into hair or something. But yeah, he's drunk.
Badass brow, man. I love the skeletal structure around the eyes. Is killer.
Well, because I figured this guy's starting to get emaciated. He's a zombie, but he still drinks, so he's not fat, but he's not skinny yet. So yeah, work to do, and I'm just trying to get the mouth to work so it looks drunk. But I got drool coming down different places that are going to be accentuated, but he's coming around.
He is going to come out so good, man.
Yeah, that looks good.
I'm jealous.
Matt, Paul, yeah, I mean yours. I love that you turned it on its side, and actually it looks so perfect.
Yeah, wow. That's a human head right there from the front.
Awesome.
When you look at it up at the local, it looks so crazy good. Like right there, that looks so like a human head's shape. That's beautiful from that.
Thanks. I'll find a way to screw it up. Don't worry about it.
All right.
Good job. So yeah, I'm the same thing like you, Matt. I mean, you made a lot better progress than I did about, like you say, about making it emaciated around the eyes, sinking in. When I'm doing it, because I'm doing it this way, there's so much meat to shrink this thing in. I have to keep cutting back behind it because it's shaped.
You can see it, yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of it has been actually trying to work stuff back. So, I mean, I'd probably be better off at some point just cutting this thing in half so that I could actually form the jaw and stuff, because I'm having trouble, like, getting the jaw to, not that I'm having trouble, I'll figure it out, but, like, you know, there's a lot of stuff that needs to come off here. And when I cut here, you can still see it all, and that's one of the downfalls of carving it on the side.
Yeah.
But I'll figger it out. It'll be drunk as a skunk by the time I'm done.
I like
it. I don't think I've ever seen one of yours that has that kind of like shifted jaw like that. Yeah. Maybe one that I've seen your do. That's badass.
I'm so glad you have a short-term memory, because I feel like every other one I carve has a shifted jaw. That's why I love you so much.
Lenny, what do you got there?
There you go. Well, we've been jawing so much. I haven't done too much, but just trying to change the eye sockets.
Yeah, he is drunk.
Gets more of that drunky look to it. So a little more cartoony.
You got a lot of,
you know, the bones are starting to come out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll give him some big warts, and you know, I'll shave the skin off, you know, so you start seeing bones.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You know, I was going to do a skeleton nose, but I think what I'm going to do is, you know, have part of it rotten away.
Oh, beautiful!
So it's
I love those. Yeah,
not all, you know, not all. Yeah, so I'll probably add something to it, and you know, have the bone pull out, and then this upper part will be like wrinkly, you know, skin.
Oh, cool!
And I want to punch through
So cool.
You know, like Paul's, he's shaving away back area. So
Yeah.
I'll get rid of this material. So when you look at it this way, you'll see through it.
Yeah, that'll look
You know,
so
you'll
cool.
see daylight, you know, behind the jawline, you know, and then I'll make the back part of the jaw, you know, I'll bring it back. So this whole side will be like the plate on the lower part of the jaw.
Oh yeah.
So
Okay.
Nice. Did you
I'll
knife in
transform
the
him
eye?
into the drunk guy.
Is it knifed in already
What's
around
that?
the eyes? You've got some serious depth in those eyes. Is it knifed? Did you knife
Just-
it yet?
Just I used with an X-Acto knife, but shallow.
did?
It's not where I'm going. Yeah, I just did a little bit because I wanted to define the orb.
Dude,
but
looks
I'm going to
sick.
push that in. I'm going to push it in more.
How much
and
more do you
then,
have? That looks so deep.
You know, I
right
want to
now.
get.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I'm playing this one because of the size of it. I'm
Yeah.
playing with the meat on the side.
Okay.
So pushing this corner back in is going to
Mhm.
make it look like it's further in his head, and then I can push this part of it out, you know,
Okay.
by removing
Yep.
this material. And you know, I might do this. I might do the same for this eye, but I want that one to be a real good lazy eye.
Yeah,
So
I love
I might
the sag in
keep that one blank with no.
Yeah,
Yeah, because that
frost it
now
out.
that you know, now I got to make him drunk, so he's got to he's got that lazy thing happening.
Just get him
But,
arrested at the end of the night.
Yeah, you know, I
Right.
thought I'd go cartoony. Yeah.
Wow.
So-
Well, I gotta say, I'm impressed with all your progress in an hour and a half.
Yeah, that's pretty quick, Lenny.
Mm.
You got a lot carved away in an hour and a half.
Thanks.
We can't help ourselves. Sorry about that.
But why do I feel like I'm never going to live this one down? Yeah. Okay. Okay. I
Nice.
see where you guys are now.
I already did the
Yeah,
mouth
yeah.
part of it, and I already feel more
Wait.
confident.
Paul, we're gonna see.
Wait till
Lenny
the other shows. The next show is coming up.
I was gonna say we're gonna see Paul. We're gonna see Lenny at a show somewhere, and all of a sudden he'll come up and just punch us right in the gut and be like, "Oh, that's from the show." Okay. Yeah, got it.
No, better yet, we'll see Lenny at a show.
No,
and
I'm just gonna
be
stand it.
When did you start that?
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly it. I'll be like, how long does it take you? It looks like it's been taking you all day. You haven't got
Did you
anything
bring
done.
that here on the back of your truck?
Yeah. Did somebody else start that for you, or is that all you?
Even better.
Are you doing it in shifts?
That's it.
That's
So
awesome.
you can catch Lenny
So-
at Lenny Calvin Creations on Instagram. Is there anywhere else that we can find you, Lenny, or any of your are you selling anything?
Yeah, you can. Well, there'll be these bases will be coming. I have
Ooh, yeah.
some I'll have some miniature pumpkin guys I'll be working on that will be coming out, and some other fun little things, that I'm working on. So so you can find me on Lenny Calvin Creations on Instagram, Lenny Calvin on Facebook, and also Lenny Calvin Creations. And there's a website and some cool videos that are out there on
Yes.
YouTube.
Definitely.
Very cool videos.
Fun.
I want to see more of your really big
Yeah,
pumpkins
we're out there.
this season. You're such a great. You do such amazing
Oh,
work
dude.
with the giant faces with the different teeth. I mean, I want to see a ton of those. This is going to be fun to. Make sure you just check him out. I'm a big fan.
That's
of
my favorite.
Yeah, it's the best.
This is going to be a big car.
Yeah, I would forego. Yeah, I would forego a lot of the single head face stuff and jump on the big one.
Mhm.
I would. I love doing the big ones.
Yeah,
A lot of people don't do them. Have you guys done any large ones?
not huge ones like yours. No. The biggest one I think I've done is
Yeah,
What?
it's
Thank you.
a couple 100 pounds. Not the big 1,000 pounders and stuff. Never done anything like that.
Yeah, and I've never done anything over 200.
Biggest one so far is the one I did with Chris from Maniac. We did that at American Dream Mall. That was just shy of 2,000 pounds. Yeah, the one with the hand.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, the hands. I have a hand carving that'll be coming up that I'm dying. I got it all mapped out, and it'll be hands and tentacles. I like doing so. There we go. The creepy guy in the tank.
Yeah.
So Matt mixing the two together, it's going to be fun.
When I visited Matt, he had a rubber fist that he carved, which I thought was pretty cool.
I didn't make that.
Oh, you
you bastard!
Listen, my granddaughters are watching this.
I don't know what you're talking about, Lenny.
I did make it. But Paul, you saw that giant hand I did in the backyard. I made this giant hand out of steel, two-dimensional. But I like doing hands too because they're a challenge. But I don't do them often enough.
That might be something to throw on the board, huh?
A hand,
a hand or a foot, something weird like an appendage.
Oh,
yeah, elbow.
Yeah, telling you,
elbow.
I mean, you can do a lot of.
That's a tough one.
I mean, that would have been a good one tonight, doing a zombie hand.
Oh,
that's cool.
Too. Yeah,
one of your drunk your drunk hand.
Yeah, we can have him holding a beer.
You had guest choice. You could have sprung us with a zombie knee or something. No, I think it was a good choice. I think drunk zombies are fun.
See that?
Yeah, drunk zombies fun.
So here's where you can find us on social media. Awesome. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch. Matt, Paul, did you have anything that you wanted to? Any last words?
Yeah, thanks again to Lenny, legend, one of my favorite carvers of all time.
Yeah, so Lenny the legend.
Come back, buddy. It's always a pleasure having you on.
Thank you.
Yeah, we love having you on. We have so many.
Thanks for having me again, and it's always a pleasure.
Yeah, definitely.
There we go.
And we are actually. This is actually kind of momentous because
thanks, Mom.
Our next episode will actually be our year episode. So
the one next week is Joop, right?
Yeah,
it is.
Joop Bongaerts
from the Netherlands.
Oh, we're going overseas, Lenny.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. Oh,
nice.
Add a pin to the list. McDonald's stash, you're not allowed to offer any more.
Yeah.
After the flirty robot thing.
Yeah. So next, it'll be our year anniversary of Carvers and Creators. It's been what an adventure, what an adventurous first year this has been. The great experiment keeps going on, keeps getting bigger. Thank you, Lenny, for being a big part of our growth and
Thanks,
thank you.
And definitely adding to our credibility. So we're definitely blessed to have you every time that you're here. So thank you so much. So check us out next Thursday at 4 p.m.
Thank you, guys.
At 4 p.m. Pacific and 7 p.m. Eastern for another Carvers and Creators. We'll see you next time. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
All right, guys. Thanks.